The next area I concentrated on was focus. I knew I had to concentrate, on 4 areas: content, traffic, networking, and marketing and branding. As I said, my content was just all over the place. I knew I had to create content which reflected me, the person that I am. But I also knew that, well, my readers like certain things, and so I had to try and find a balance between what I like to write about and what my readers like to read. So it was a bit of a, it's tweaking. It's putting up a post and see what works and what doesn't. What brings in the traffic, what doesn't. Like list posts brings in a lot of traffic. It's something that is easy to write as well, so I do it once in a while. And it's also diversifying the topics. So I don't only write about travel, but I write about inspirational things, personal issues, and I just mix it up a little bit so that the content remains interesting. And quality. I concentrated on the writing style, like the style how I like to write, a style that I'm comfortable with, and a style which I feel my readers can associate with as well and would find appealing. And photography. After a while, I was like, okay, I need to get my own photos in here. So I bought myself a really good camera and started to take pictures via Twitter and Facebook and all these forums. I learned different things about photography and how to improve my photography, and added that aspect to my blog. The next focus area was traffic, identifying and growing my sources. Same thing with diversifying my content. I knew I had to identify and diversify my sources of traffic as well. So social media was obviously a good platform, Twitter, Facebook, stumbled upon. But I also knew that I have to get out of that space. The thing about being on social media is that you're basically connecting with your own travel bloggers, and you need to get out of that space to connect with other people who are just generally interested in travel, the real consumers. So there were many things I did. There was last year when the first iPad was launched. I went to a couple of Apple stores in Amsterdam, and what I did was I put my blog up. Every time someone opened Safari on the iPad, my blog popped up, and I call it guerrilla marketing, and it worked, and it's like expanding. These people are going to the shop to test run the iPad, and there was my blog popping up. So, just things
Just in Amsterdam, I hope.
Yeah. No, actually I did it in 2 cities in Holland. Yeah. So there were various things that I did. Guest posting is a great source of traffic. So just ask one of your colleagues, like, hey, can I guest post on your blog? Most of them will say yes. And you define a topic and you guest post. I get quite a bit of traffic from my guest posts.
How would that work? Would that be that putting the content
on someone else's blog?
Okay.
Yeah. So I write a post and it's published on someone else's blog. Yeah. So guest posting, and obviously networking as well. Networking was really important. Tell everyone about my blog. It's always Velvet Escape, visit the Velvet Escape blog, and read this and read that, and putting my blog in my email signature. And I was also going to conferences like this where I tell people about Velvet Escape and to visit the Velvet Escape blog. And forums, online forums, where you kind of like, well, I'm not really promoting myself, but it's always in my signature. So these are all sources of traffic as well, which I thought, well, these are really important sources which I have to identify and grow. And it was fun doing it because I got to use my creativity to try and get the name out. Oh yeah, and Google, of course, is a massive source of traffic. So I had to learn a lot about SEO, and I'm not an SEO expert. There's one in the room here. We'll be talking later on, and I'm hoping to learn something. But yeah, Google and Yahoo, obviously, all the search engines. So these were all sources of traffic. And doing the networking that really helped, absolutely. And the fourth focus area that I concentrated on was marketing and branding. So it's the same thing as well as using my networks, going to conferences, forums, to market my blog and tell people about it and just get the word out. I was like just basically telling everyone about my blog. The thing I had to focus on, obviously, as well, aside from the marketing aspect of getting the name out, is, coming up with who is my target audience, who are my readers. I had to do a bit of research on who was visiting my blog. And in the beginning, it was not very clear to me who exactly was visiting my blog. And then, there are sources like Compete.com, Alexa, who gives you, and Google obviously gives you a bit more information about the demographics. And once I discovered that, hey, there is a certain pattern here as to the type of people who are visiting my blog, then once I started to identify these audiences, I could target them a lot more as well. And target them a lot more is that's in the marketing, the type of content I publish that is more geared towards that target audience. And brand building was another focus area, which I shall talk about in more detail in the next slide. But it's brand building for me was, what is Velvet Escape about? What does it convey? What is the message that I want to convey via Velvet Escape? And these were things that I had to think about. And once I had the story, how to convey that story to my audience.